I'm joined now by a man who's done all sorts as a writer, actor, director, producer, as well as being a supporting artist and Doctor Who monster actor. So I'd like to introduce Jamie McKee. How are you?
Good. How are you, Alex?
Not bad, thanks. And
Yeah, looking well.
and yourself? And you keeping yourself busy writing during all this?
Trying to, yeah. So just written a few sketches, a couple of short films, and then just entered a few things into BBC Writers' Room. So yeah, trying to keep busy.
Oh, fantastic. And as I say, you're a man of many talents and many hats. But how did the Doctor Who monster work begin?
I think it's probably 2017 as a Mondasian Cyberman. That was my first ever experience of being a monster on Doctor Who, or a monster in anything. I think I was always too tall before because I'm 6'2", and all the monsters seem to be like 5'10". Seems to be like a certain height. So once they brought back the Mondasians, they had to be all 6'2", slim, and just be able to fit into the costumes. So I think, yeah, so it's 2017, and there was 8 of us who originally started as the Mondasians. So that was good. Yeah, it's good fun.
So was it a deliberate choice to sort of move into monster work, or is it just that you happen to be sort of the right build for the parts?
Exactly that, yeah. It's one of those things that everybody that's ever done any background work, they all want to be on Doctor Who. It's like the holy grail of extra work. So I'd done one day as an extra, 3 years previously, 2014, on Dark Water. I think it was called that. You'd probably be able to tell me, yeah. And I thought, I've done Doctor Who now, great. So then 3 years later, when they said, do you fancy being a monster? I was like, brilliant, yeah. Didn't really know what it entailed. Didn't really know that we'd have a whole day's rehearsal with a choreographer, just be able to know how to move like a Mondasian, which is amazing. Just a day doing that, I was like, this is brilliant. And then we did probably about 3 months of filming as the Mondasian. So 3 months of head to toe in latex. Which is great because we got to meet all the Millennium FX team, so like Jimmy and Laura and Lisa, all the team. They were fantastic. And then probably the best scene I did in that as a Mondasian was the Rooftop scene with Peter Cavalli. I don't know if you remember, where the ladder comes down and then he comes up and then the master comes along and firing things from our heads. So there's myself and a couple of other guys, Liam Carey and Samuel Rush, who's both done a lot of monster work before. We just had a great day doing that, and afterwards, I think it was one of Peter Cavalli's last days, so we went to his kind of early rap party as well, in one of the pubs just by BBC Roadblock. So we just got to sat down with Matt Lucas and a dog, watching Peter Cavalli, because he's a keen photographer, all of his photos come up on the big screen. So you can't buy those kind of days, can you?
Oh, fantastic. But that story had a lot of both studio and location work. So how difficult was that costume going out of the confines of the studio?
Yeah, it was tough. We had a couple of night shoots in Cardiff Bay, just on the street they always use. You probably know where. So crowds started together. It's pitch black. We've all got to walk in unison, 8 of us. We've all got to raise our right arm at the same time. We've all got to look up to the sky at the same time, and you can't see anything. Literally nothing. You can see just like blurs in front of you. So it's quite tough. But I think once you've got the mask on and you've got the hat on and you've got like prosthetics underneath and everything, you are a Cyberman. You're a Mondasian Cyberman. So you just go with it.
So once you first worn the costume, say for a week or so, did it become easier? I mean, particularly as this was your first monster part.
Yeah, that first one, when I look back at pictures now, I'm like, how did I do 3 months in that? But at the time, it was quite snug because we did a lot of live shows in it as well, which was quite tough. So we did a few at the Millennium Centre, where everyone would come and all the execs would come. Stephen Moffat was there, and we'd just all sit and watch. Everyone would sit and watch the first episode whilst they had a live orchestra playing. And then myself and Sam Rush from the 2 Mondasians, we would come out and do a little bit of entertaining, wave our arms around, and just point to the audience. So once we'd done that, anything after that was fine. So that was like a good 3 hours in the costume. So yeah.
So those sort of live events, because also you did stuff at the experience, they must be
Yeah.
great fun to do because you get an immediate response, and I suppose often from children as well.
Exactly, perfect. Yeah, like you said about the live experience, that was just amazing. So it was the last day before it closed down. So they had a few different monsters come out. So again, I was a Mondasian, which is great because you just go up behind people without them knowing you're there, and it's just a perfect scare tactic. Just a hand on the shoulder, little latex glove on the shoulder, and then it's just brilliant.
So in terms of Doctor Who, is that perhaps the highlight of it all?
Yeah, it probably is. Also, just when you get to sit down, like I've done a couple of Christmas specials now, when you just get to sit down, cause it's always been a family thing where you sit down on Christmas Day and watch the Christmas special. So when you can sit there and go, oh, that's me. Like no one would ever know it's you because you're head to toe in latex, but you can say, I remember that was me because I was to the right of so and so, and we're walking around now, and now I'm firing my head, and yeah, it's just brilliant.
Because I spoke to Jimmy Mann, and he was saying that when he watches it back, he can tell from their faces which one of you is which Cyberman. So when you watch it back, can you remember being the one on the right or whichever one it is?
Yeah, you can. And like you said, we've all got different noses, and you can tell the nose in the Cyberman costume. And Jimmy's great as well. I know you probably already spoke to him, but if you do get a chance to speak to him again, get him to do some impressions.
Well, yeah, I shall have to make sure that happens. By all accounts, he's quite the expert.
Oh, he's brilliant. Yeah, he's amazing. His Snape, that's it. His Snape impression. I think it's got like over 1 million views on Facebook and social media. He's just amazing. He's a very talented guy.
And you mentioned that one of the episodes of Doctor Who was the New Year's special Resolution. Was it quite nice to be playing yourself in a recognisable part rather than behind latex or something?
It was. Well, it's a lot easier. Probably not as much fun, but that was a nice day because there was only myself playing a dad, a woman playing my wife, and then an actress, and then 2 young actors playing the 2 sons. So it's just the 4 of us, and it's a nice easy day, half a day, just one scene in a house. So yeah, it was that was nice. It was good fun, and I had my own trailer in that one, so it was not. That was a nice experience. The top I wore was actually David Tennant's top that he wore in Broadchurch. So that was a nice little bit of trivia for you there.
Oh wow, what a small world it is! And
Yeah.
something like that, so you've not got a costume, a creature suit or movement. Are you just brought in for that day for that scene?
Yeah, literally that day, that scene. I think it was. I only had the call the day before for that one, so luckily I was off. I wasn't doing anything. Had a call from the agent saying, "Can you do Doctor Who tomorrow?" Always going to say yes, and it was yes. That was a nice, unexpected day.
So were you particularly a fan of the show? Were you aware of it before working on it?
Yeah, I wasn't an avid viewer. I didn't watch it much as a kid, but as an adult, I would normally always watch the Christmas special. But then since I've started doing the extra work, the background work, and working in the industry, then I will sit down and watch it now every week without fail.
Because you soon found yourself back in a creature suit for Jodie's last series as one of the Kasaavin in a costume which I think must have been quite a challenge in that it all lit up. How difficult was that in comparison to the Cyberman?
Yeah, that was completely different. So you're head to toe in like strip lights, which is quite tough straight away. And then you've got about 3 or 4 layers on top of that. A massive big head. The only good thing was you did have a lot of room to breathe in the big head. But you just couldn't see. Once they turned the lights on, that was it. You were pretty blind to everything. But I only did a couple of days in that. Just one scene in an aeroplane, and one scene with Lenny Henry, and that was it for that one. I think Sam Rush was the main guy doing all those. I think he did every single day. Yeah, that was an experience. But the other one from Jodie's last season was the main one that I've done, I think.
So that was the sort of hazmat alien, the Praxeus character, where you are the principal in that instance. Was it quite nice to know that you are the definitive monster there?
It is, yeah, yeah. I'm gutted that that monster hasn't got a name, so I think we'll just have to come up with our own Praxeus alien hazmat, whatever name. But yeah, that was probably the toughest costume I had to wear, but the most fun I've had on set because it was literally just myself for most days as that monster. Um, so you get treated like one of the main actors really. So the director, Jamie Stone, he would take me around with Jodie, with Bradley. Warren Brown was in that episode. So and these are like people that I've watched on telly for years and just loved, and just take me around and say, right, for this scene, I need you to be shooting over here. For this scene, I want you to be stood over here, and then lay down here and be dead over there. And so yeah, it was just amazing. So I did about, must have been about 10 or 11 days, because obviously saw you there the one day, which was a night shoot in a warehouse in the cold. I think it was like February as well, wasn't it? Or January, February. So that was an interesting costume because you obviously had like I've got my t-shirt, this little kind of gas mask on, and more latex. Look, thinking back on that one, that was a tough one.
Because then you also made it into studios, the same part, but also you have a lot of scenes when the gas mask is taken off and we see the sort of mutated version. How was that prosthetic to work with?
That was the toughest out of all of them probably because it's just a big rubber prosthetic which goes over the front and back of your head. It's got obviously the Praxeus across the face and then a pinprick in one eye so you can see it out of nothing else, which was tough anyway. So I would have a little practice, but in between scenes, just sat there, which I'm sure was a funny sight. Just sat there, just on my chair, just having a practice with the breathing. But then for the beginning of the scene, they put the gas mask over the top of the prosthetic mask, so you like double masks. That was probably the hardest thing I've had to do. So there's a couple of times where I had to like put my hand up and say, right, I need a break for this one.
And something like that, are you given a script? Do you get much background as to what the character is?
Yeah, for that one, I hadn't, not with the Mondasians or any of the others, but with that, I did, yeah. So Lauren, the third, would come and she would sit down and go, right, this is what's happening. So for this scene, you're going to go up in a crane, and then the camera's going to be on the side of your face, and I just need you to look to the side, and then look down, and then point your gun. So those kind of things are just great.
And being amongst all of this, Doctor Who is quite a machine. How did that then tie in with your writing, directing, and producing work? Did that prompt it, or was that already something you were doing?
It was already something I was doing, but it's kind of I write like social realism type of films, so like things that are real and are happening now, like social studies on modern Britain, that kind of thing. So Doctor Who is obviously the other end of the spectrum, so it's nice to see how all that works and how things work on a high-end scale, and then kind of trying to tie the two in together a little bit more, if that makes sense. Maybe not, but yeah.
But it must be nice to have such a variation in what you're doing. You're a Cyberman one day and then writing about a more realistic social situation the next.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I think that's the best part about being freelance in the film world. So one day you could be in a hazmat suit, having a gunfight with Bradley Walsh. The next day you could be sat in a bed in Casualty, and then the next day you could be directing a little short film for BBC Wales. So you're wearing all the different hats. Probably jack of all trades, master of none, maybe. But hopefully, I want to be the master of one of them at one stage. Yeah.
So do you have a particular preference? Is there one that you really want to focus on and be known for?
Whatever I'm not doing at the time. That makes sense. So if I'm directing something, I think, I really wish I was writing this. Or if I'm writing something, I'm like, I really wish I directed it. Or if I'm in a hazmat suit, I'm thinking, oh, I wish I was with the crew standing and just watching this. Obviously, I've worked with you as well a couple of times, just as just doing locations. Even that, I'm like, this is great. That was on His Dark Materials, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, and that was again a big production. But is it quite interesting coming in for the odd day rather than being there for, say, the whole shoot? Do you think you gain more by just sort of stepping on and off these productions?
It's more varied. It's not financially great because you do have the odd couple of weeks where you're not doing anything. I only went completely freelance last May, so for about a year. So I always thought the first year I'm just going to just try and do work on every single production. I got lucky. I worked on Brave New World quite a lot, which is a new show that's coming out soon. But for the most of it was just like 2 days here, 2 days there. It's great. So I did the first year, and then obviously COVID happened, which kind of hindered everything. But I think when I do go back, I'll try and do like at least a couple of months on different shows, just to try and get more experience from almost the start to finish.
Yeah, of course. And in terms of your writing, I suppose in particular, who are the people that you've learned from? Because I think Wales is the industry is quite small, and there's a lot of very creative people out there that seem to know everybody.
Yeah, everybody does know everybody. My writing influences are people like Jack Thorne, who obviously wrote His Dark Materials, but more his gritty stuff. So like he wrote a lot of This Is England with Shay Meadows. He did Kiri and those like Channel 4's single dramas that he does. There's a lot of just people that write short films in Wales. People like Jodie Ashdown, she's wrote a couple of short films and does a lot of script editing. Matt Nixon, he's another person. So there's a lot of people that just write minute films, which I'm just completely influenced by as well, which is great.
And there must be quite a community of people like yourself, because I suppose you're all encountering similar problems or challenges that you all face. Is that quite nice to have that group of people to bounce ideas off?
Yeah, definitely. We have these meetings once a month. We'll meet in Chapter. Everyone will show their short films in the cinema. We'll all just network after. And from meeting those people, we've all started helping each other out as well. So if I'm making a music video, I'll go, oh, I remember that cameraman that was really good. I'm going to see if he can come in. Or I remember that girl who's really good at lighting, so I'm going to bring her in. So it's just great. Or even just seeing the actors and actresses that were unrepresented or undiscovered yet, and giving them the chance. One of the runners from Doctor Who, Matty. I don't know if you ever met Matty from Liverpool or from Birkenhead. He was a drama student in North Wales. Then I directed a short film for BBC Wales, discovered him, and from him doing that, he's now a runner on Doctor Who. So it's just like those little things. It's just nice, isn't it? It's just like that small Wales, incestual Wales, as people say. But yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think you'd get that in London or over in Hollywood or somewhere. Wales is a very special place to work.
Yeah, and there seems to be loads going on as well.
So what are you working on at the moment? Is there anything yet to come out or in development that you can talk about?
There's a couple of sketches. I've done a few sketches for BBC Sesh, which is like a social media channel aimed at young adults, which shows the funny side of Wales. So I've done a couple for them and hopefully a couple more coming soon. And then I've just written my first feature, so I'm just trying to get funding for that, which is about homelessness in rural Wales. So again, completely different than what we're talking about. But yeah, just trying to get funding. If I can't get funding, I think I'm just going to try and shoot it myself on a minimal crew, just literally 4 or 5 of us. Just get it done.
And are you quite keen to write about Wales and Welsh issues, to make it part of a lot of your work?
Yeah, definitely. Everything I write has got hints of Wales. Like I was born in Wales, grew up in Wales, I've lived in Wales probably 50-60% of my life. So it's just everything. It's what I know, and they always say write about what you know.
Well, on note of things to come, I'd just like to say thank you very much for your time, Jamie. It's been lovely to talk to you about just some of your work.
No, and you, yeah, it's been great.